Hi, can you hear me okay? Okay, I am not a user interface designer or a user interface expert. I am a software guy. My name is Declan. I haven't memorized all these slides, so I will be looking over my shoulder. I'm here to talk about injecting agility into the user experience. And I'm going to start off by saying software is under a crisis. And actually it's been under a crisis for at least since 1994. It was first brought into, say, the public perception by the chaos reports, which had some amazing statistics on canceled projects. About a third of the projects were canceled within 1 year of starting. Projects that went over budget, 50%, or more than up to twice as much as they were initially budgeted for. And 16% of projects actually completed on time and on budget. Pretty dismal numbers. And they're not much better now, by the way. We are better, but not much. So how do we fix this? The big response from the software community was, let's put in controlled processes. So we're going to have requirements, and we're going to have analysis and design and tests. And we're going to document the crap out of each one of those gating points and make sure that people are doing the right thing the first time. And we're going to seal this stuff with contracts. A lot of people made a lot of money with contracts that ended up having additions that weren't part of the original scope. And we're going to have Gantt charts and PERT charts like you would not believe. So, does this work? Did it work? Sometimes, but not always. Why not? Well, software is really not a defined process. Given a set of inputs and the process, we're not going to get the same outputs every time. Therefore, that phase model doesn't work. Software really relies on creative people working together effectively. Software is not constrained by physical law. If you're building a building, you must start with the foundation and then you finish with the penthouse. If you're writing software, you can do the penthouse first, the basement, then the 5th floor. You can do it in any order you like. Software is malleable. You can change software at any point in time, which is good and bad. But by locking in the process, you've effectively defeated one of the basic powers of software, which is the ability to change it. So when you lock it in, you're actually losing some of the power that you have at your fingertips. So there's an alternate approach. And it is the manifesto, wrong slide, the Agile manifesto, which came out in 2001, where thought leaders got together and said, how can we design software in a more sane manner? And they decided that things that were valuable were interactions and people over the processes and tools. Working software was more important than documenting the crap out of it. Customer collaboration was much more important than negotiating contracts when things didn't work out well. And above all, responding to change in internet timeframes was more important than following a plan that was made 2 years ago. So this is agility, but those are the premises of what Agile development is, but it doesn't really say what it feels like. So if you're new to Agile, I'm going to try and paint a quick picture for you of what it would feel like. I want you to think about a great team that you were on sometime in your life. It might have been a sports team, it might have been a high-tech team, it might have been anything like that. You probably had some shared vision. You probably had stretch goals. You probably trusted the people that you worked with. You worked together with them and you overcame obstacles that you didn't think were possible. That's what agility feels like when it's working. But what does it look like kind of if you draw to a manager? Typical software has your requirements, analysis, design spread out over 2 years. Agility compresses all that, does all of those things simultaneously and compresses it into iterations of, say, 1 week to 4 weeks. 1 week's better. But how does the user experience fit into this? There are some challenges. Developers, Agile teams tend to focus on the stakeholders within the business, the people with the money. interaction designers tend to focus on the end users, the people who actually use the software. Developers focus on technical issues, reusable code, test coverage, and so on and so forth. Designers focus on usability. Agile developers are used to just modeling and designing just in time. Interaction designers like to model up front. They like to have behavioral models and task models and make sure that the software doesn't start until we have a thorough understanding of how the user interacts with the system. So how can we bring those two things together? Well, I call that Agile UX. And I'm going to assume that you're all interaction designers looking to bring agility into your organization or join an Agile team. So your job is going to be to infuse the user experience into that team. You need to be the advocate for the user. Be the user stakeholder. Well, how can you do that? Well, best way that I've seen so far, one really good method is with Bob, where I work with Bob, is bringing personas into the organization. So get those personas visible, put them on big placards, make the developers see them every day, and make sure that every requirement has a persona's name attached to it. Train the team on user experience. Make it a part of what they live every day. Agile teams tend to be extremely disciplined. Agile teams understand quality and they understand what it means to be done. If you can put user experience issues onto their checklist and part of their day-to-day activities, the user experience will get infused into the development. In terms of modeling, do just enough to get started. By all means, do the behavioral models, have the task models, but don't go overboard, just do enough. And do it in a lightweight manner. Get Kate Moss on your team.
That's it? Nope, 7 minutes, Nick.
Okay. The main thing I wanted to say that I didn't get to was think of usability as not a big thing that you're going to do up front and get it right and then drive that into the software. Think about usability as being something that you're going to acquire in a drip manner. So you're going to go for a week, you're going to learn a little bit one week, you're going to learn a little bit the next week, and try to get that fed back into the software development cycle.